What's going on, everybody? Liam O'Reilly, Vermont economic realtor with Jerry Riley Real Estate. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be talking about some changes that were made over the summer to the Burlington Housing Code, some zoning changes that were made that are going to help alleviate the housing issues that we're experiencing across really the state of Vermont, but really around the Burlington area, the Chittenden County area. So we're going to be talking about zoning changes that were made in the south end. If you remember earlier this year, earlier in 2023, I made a video about how housing wasn't allowed in the industrial districts of the south end, which made it difficult for developers to obviously to bring new housing to that area, and that land was kind of wasted. It's there's a big parking lot down there, and really the land around the south end, around the Hula building, could be utilized better, could be put to better use to help housing across the state of Vermont, across really in Burlington in particular. So we're going to be taking a look at what was approved over the summer and how that could affect things here in Vermont. And then we're also going to look at some examples from Concord, New Hampshire, and some changes that they're making to their housing to bring more housing in that area. And I think Concord is a great example, a great town that we can use as an example because it's very similar to Burlington. They're similar sizes, both have populations of 44,000 people. And Concord, New Hampshire is in a little bit different location. It's a little closer to Boston. You have Manchester, New Hampshire nearby, so there's more population around the town of Concord than as opposed to Burlington, where Burlington's really the hub of the state of Vermont. But as far as cities go, they feel very similar to one another, and they're similar sizes. So I think Burlington can learn a lot from the proposals that are being made in Concord. So first, let's get into what happened in Burlington over the summer. So I apologize for not noticing this earlier, but in over the summer in July, the city council approved a change to the South End Housing District, and this is the area that they're talking about. So really industrial zoning around this area. Not many residential buildings were allowed to be built where, for example, these parking lots are. So you have this big 6-acre parking lot that's taking up a bunch of space, and really, in my opinion, would be better used as housing across the area. So let's see what they proposed here. So it compromises of 14 mostly vacant pieces of land on the west side of Pine Street, including the Hula campus on Lakeside Avenue and nearby 6-acre parking lot owned by Hula developer Russ Scully and a city-owned parcel on Sears Lane. So 14 mostly vacant lots that weren't able to be utilized for housing until this recent zoning change this summer. This is what the mayor had to say about it, and I think this is a great statement here. We are in crisis in many ways because we have made housing way too hard to build in this city, in this state, and many parts of the country. The mayor said we have an opportunity to implement one of the most dramatic fixes that we'll ever have a chance to do together. So, I mean, that statement really, to me, shows that they're committed to bringing more housing to the area and committed to making this change turn into something substantial that's really going to help the city. And so the right side of the picture here is what they're proposing. We can't really zone it in, but basically the areas shaded in red are zoned for 8-story buildings. The areas zoned or shaded in yellow are zoned for 6 stories, and then the areas shaded in blue are zoned for 4 stories. So that map on the right gives you a good sense of how things are going to look. Now, it's tough to visualize exactly what's going to be placed there, and I at least personally haven't been able to find proposals online of specific layouts of this neighborhood is going to look like. I think Russ Scully had proposed doing like five-story buildings with a commercial space on the first floor, which I think could work very well. But I think when we look over to Concord and some over the proposed building plans in the Concord area, I think it gives us a good idea of what Burlington can do with this space, how they can utilize it best. So here's a development around the Concord area, 944 housing units. So basically this map is a little hard to depict as well, but when we take a look here, the outskirts are townhomes that are going to be sold. And then as we get closer to the center, we have more mixed use space. There's some self storage in there. There's restaurants. There's some commercial space being proposed. There's workforce housing in this complex, and then there's apartments for rent as well. So 944 units of really a variety of housing opportunities for people to take advantage of, not just rental housing, but also homes to buy, and then really creating a new center where it's more of a community that people can walk through. There's that yellow line. I don't know if you can see it here, right? Kind of by the river is a proposed walking path. So really a walkable neighborhood where people don't have to drive their cars to, and to get to amenities, like I don't know exactly what businesses are going to be in these commercial spaces, but I would think it would make sense to have a small grocery store there. There's restaurants being proposed in this area, so people don't have to drive around and go to a restaurant. They can just walk right next door or walk to get their groceries. I think it's very logical, and something like this in this south end of Burlington would be very beneficial. The south end is a really desirable place to live in Burlington. People uh, love living there. There's a lot of neighborhoods. It's very residential, and I think adding another community center where people can walk to get their groceries. There is city market nearby, so this development would obviously help that business. But just more shops and restaurants, and really creating another part of town that's attractive to go to, I think will go a long way for the city of Burlington. So I think something like this is a great idea. So this is what they're proposing in this plan in Concord. They have 151 workforce housing units, 327 market rate apartments, 223 standalone market. Oh wait, sorry, 327 market rate apartments within a mixed use retail center. So that's kind of the town center in the middle of the picture there. Those red buildings are the 327 market rate apartments with mixed use commercial zoning around there. And then 223 standalone market rate apartments. Those are towards the outskirts, that kind of those orangish buildings to the left of your screen there. And then 172 condominiums for sale and rent. So it would feature over 100,000 square feet of commercial retail space and another 100,000 square feet of self-storage space. So, really adding a lot to the community of Concord. Obviously, this plan hasn't been approved yet. It's not under construction quite yet, but it's being proposed. And personally, I think something like this would work really well in Burlington. So really the whole point of this video is to show that progress is being made on the Burlington front. I'm glad that the city officials have recognized this housing problem that we're all experiencing, and are changing parts of the city that are being underutilized and trying to make the most out of that space. This isn't a change that's going to happen overnight. We're not going to wake up tomorrow and there's going to be a whole new part of Burlington that is attractive and people are going to want to hang out there. But I think in the next 5 years or so, if the city is able to pass a proposal, if a developer is willing to, take a chance and build, really develop that area, I think in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be a really attractive part of the city and a really great place to live. So anyway, Liam O'Reilly, Vermont Economic Realtor. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you need anything real estate, or just want to talk personally, all my contact information is in the description. I'll see you guys in the next video, and thank you so much for watching.